Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I absolutely love the show. Guy Ritchie's one of my favorite filmmakers, and he really knocked it out of the park. And your performance as Freddy is it's just amazing.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
I imagine it was fun to play a character like this.
It was. I mean, it was pretty much a like go big or go home situation. I remember I was thinking about this the other day. I remember like, in the second episode when I'm driving around on the a quad bike and I like, I'd never driven a quad bike before. They gave me like a little bit of a training session. Then I'm out there pretty much on my own doing most of that. Some of them is like the camera's rigged up on the quad bike. So I'm out there pretty much doing whatever I want on that thing, coming back and like checking the monitors to have a little look at what we've just done. I remember the DP Ed coming up to me and being like, "Bro, you got to stop checking on the monitors." He was like, you burst in the church with both guns blazing at this point. Like it's done. There's nothing like you're in for a penny, in for a pound."
So, how did you come aboard the series, and had you seen the movie The Gentleman prior to the show?
Yeah, I'd seen the movie during the pandemic. I think it was one of my. I had a little kind of pandemic movie club with my pals where we would like all put it on at the same time in our different houses, and like live text each other throughout. So I'd seen it, and I love Guy Ritchie. I grew up with Lock, Stock, and Snatch, so like it's like Tarantino. It's kind of in my DNA. Um, but I think what I loved about it was getting to play a character that, in a way, I felt like I hadn't quite seen in his world before. Partly because, the aristocracy being such a big part of the show, and it's only touched on a little bit in the movie. That felt kind of new and fresh, and also there was a sort of wildness and a um, yeah, kind of comedic wild man element to it that I felt like I could bring something that maybe I hadn't sort of seen in his movies.
And did Guy Ritchie's directorial style for the series give you any clues in how you were going to develop Freddy for the show?
I mean, the biggest clue was that he we would come to work and I would get into hair and makeup. I would go to my trailer. I would fall asleep, and 4 hours later there would be a knock on my door where they'd come in and go, here's the scene that you're actually going to shoot today. And then we would get down to set, and then that would also be thrown out. And then Guy would basically say, "Come on, come up with something. Just, I don't know, say something funny." No, that's not funny. Something else. And that the clue there was writ large. It was like, this is going to be fucking wild, and it was, and really, you always do kind of bits of planning and like I try and wing it a little bit because you never know, particularly with comedy, you never quite know what everyone else is going to bring to set. And I try not to be too sort of rigid in my thinking, but I'll do prep. In this one, it became a case of like, don't don't prepare anything. Just like turn up, be present. uh I know this world. Do you know what I mean? I know the world of Guy Ritchie cinema. Like I say, it's in my DNA. So I'm like, just turn up, be present, be focused, and then dress up as a chicken.
I mean, the chicken scene alone is like top tier Guy Ritchie for me. It's like it's so good, and your performance in that scene in particular is just it's just amazing. I'm specifically wondering like what were the most difficult parts of like being at the center of such a scene like this, especially the first episode as well.
I mean, probably the most difficult thing was figuring out how to pee in that chicken costume because it's like a whole thing. You have to get the whole thing off, and then I'm just walking around in tights and a vest. It's the dead of winter too. So, out on that quad bike thing, that was like a hold it in all day type situation. Um, but I mean, again, because it's so free. I mean, the weird thing with the way Guy works is sometimes it's really free and loose, and it's completely sort of improvisational, and he's just shouting stuff out, or he's standing by the monitors, or you're just trying things out. Other times he is like rigidly specific with the delivery of his dialogue, and he'll hand you a speech 2 seconds before you go and film it, and it's like you can't change a word. But I mean, the chicken thing was, I guess we probably shot it over about a week, all the various different bits. And I go to the bathroom and then I'm outside like hammering rails of coke and the whole thing just sort of built up gradually, I mean, all of that stuff in the bathroom where Freddy's just psyching himself up was all sort of improvised. And I remember like I had the chicken hat on and they put a like line of cocaine there on the mirror. And I was like, you know what? We should give the chicken should have his own line. He should rack up a line for the beak. Because then when I go down, like the beak's there on the thing, and what I love is just like they put so much of that stuff in. When I watched it back, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they used it.
And can you discuss the collaboration you had with P.O. James on building your relationship between Freddy and Eddie?
Yeah, I mean, that was like the bulk of the series. For me, my experience on it was kind of working really, really closely with Theo because obviously as the show goes on, like for Eddie, he kind of goes off on multiple tangents and he spends a lot of the time with the Glass family. And when my character's in it, really it is the two brothers. And I always felt like a big part of the core there was believing that there was like love between them, and massive resentment. And so we worked quite closely together, trying to kind of find moments of like, I don't know, our characters would be having an argument and be like, this we feels like we've sort of gone over this before. We got to do something a bit different with this scene. Maybe we have to like lighten it up a bit, or maybe this should be a scene where my character's kind of stripped bare and honest. So that was something we were sort of regularly like calling, texting each other, sending ideas back and forth, and trying to kind of build that ourselves. But we had known each other a little bit beforehand, and I think that there was a kind of inherent trust there that was where we were able to do that.
And is it
Big
challenging?
problem is that he's such an ugly man. It's just like I don't really want to be looking at, what I mean? I'm stood there and I'm like, come on, can't we get someone who is like vaguely camera friendly?
And is it always challenging to, I guess, build a character that's always like unpredictable? Because when you're watching him, you never really know what he's gonna do. Like especially in that scene, I think it was in episode 3 at the dealership when he's doing this accent with Wham Tam. I'm like, oh my god, like what is
Yeah,
he doing? Is that
exactly.
like
Yeah, I mean, I love all that shit because I'm a total kind of you know, I'm a comedy hack really. And I'm like I'm not I feel like I'm not afraid to sort of um dial it up to 11. But yeah, I mean, as it went on, it became something where it was like, okay, I feel like I'm gonna have to display some humanity within there as well. And just finding those moments where you can sympathize with him because you can sort of see the little boy. You know what I mean? You're like, okay, I don't agree with what he's doing, but I can sort of see the child in there who is just like screaming to be noticed.
and is there something that you would say was your favorite part in working on the show?
Uh, what was my favorite part? Do you know what? There were a few scenes early on where it was like all of us there together, and you've got Vinnie Jones and Jolie, Kaya, and Theo. I'm there in the chicken suit. You got Chanel Cresswell as Wham Tam, and we were all very much still kind of finding our feet with it, and we were all just like terrified that we were, out of our depths. And you know, I'm like, have I just burnt my career to the ground with this with this insane performance that I'm giving? But I think we all just realized that everybody found each other incredibly funny, and that we all just were really enjoying it, and there was a sort of sense of like nervous giddiness, and there was also regularly real booze floating around on set. There's a party sequence in one of the episodes which is so minuscule when you see it back with the Irish travelers. And that was like a whole thing. I mean, we just like they put music on. We were just going around like drawings on each other, pouring booze over each other. And it was all real booze. And I think those kind of collective, like the ensemble, the company of actors, just everybody looking out for each other and egging each other on was the thing that I will always remember.
Awesome. Well, it was really great talking to you today, Daniel, on a really truly amazing performance as Freddy in The Gentleman.
Thank you, man.
It's the chicken scene alone. I mean, this is what the camera was made to capture. So
That's what they had in mind
yeah.
100 years ago. Um, thank you, man.
So I wish you all the best on your future projects, and hope that you have a very good rest of your day.
Thank you, sir. You too. All right.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Take it easy. Bye.